Alright guys, what I'm doing today is I'm going to mount a 4-jaw chuck onto my lathe finally. And I'm going to use this backing plate that came with the 4-jaw chuck. It fits in here. I think it's a Columbia or Buck chuck. I can't remember which it is right now. But anyway, this is for a spindle that has a threaded spindle. And I don't have a threaded spindle. What I have is a spindle that attaches with 3 screws. And if you'll see, there's already 3 screw holes here. And that's because I've done this before. If you'll also notice, there's 2 lines here. That's how far I was off when I did this before. About 60 thousandths. The screw holes are correct. It bolts right up. But it's not centered. It's not in line. It's 60 thousandths off. The way I did it before is I think I mounted it in the chuck itself, and I had a center point coming up out of the chuck. Well, that center point was off somehow. Okay, so that's the problem. How to find the center of this thing when you've already got a hole in it. And I've never seen a video that specifically addresses this. There may be one out there that I just haven't missed, but I've specifically looked for one. Is how to find the center of a chuck or a back plate that you already have that's already got a hole in it that you can't use the hole because the hole is threaded. I mean, how do you measure a threaded hole? You're never going to get a perfect measurement off of threads. So this is not in my own creation. I read about somebody doing this. It wasn't a video, but I read about it, and I'm going to try to do it mechanically. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plug that fills this hole. Is a tight tolerance fit in this hole. And then I'm going to mount this to my 3-jaw chuck because I've got an area back here that is for the register when you go on a threaded spindle. So it's round. I've already put it on there, and I've already figured, and I've already dial indicated it out that I can get it spinning with very little run out and very little run out on the face as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the plug in there, put it in the chuck, and then I'm going to physically find the center of it with the tailstock of the lathe, and then I'm going to come out my 84 centimeters or 84 millimeters and draw the line. And then all I got to do is pick out my holes. If there's another way to do this that I am just completely have missed, please let me know, because I have another one of these to do, and this is a little time consuming. If there's a measurement way to do this that you can send me to a web page or something, that would be great. Is how to find 84 millimeters from the center of a round plate that you don't have a center in. So if anybody knows how to do that, please let me know. But for now, I'm going to do it this way. Alright, now we got the plug. I think that it's going to go in there. I kind of only well, I don't have one shot at this. If it's too tight and it gets hung up, I guess I can knock it back out and start over. Get it down in there. And let's check it. Hey John, I'm using your thing. Okay, I'm actually a little bit below that indentation. Okay, so you might be saying, well, okay, you pounded that thing down in there, but the center of that thing's not going to be the center because of the threads in there. They're kind of, wherever they're going to be. And that's right. I don't care if the center of this piece is the center of the thing, because I'll find the center on this piece. The point is to have something in the center of the plate that I can put a center mark on and then get the outer bolt circle dimension. Alright guys, so I faced off the faceplate and found my center, and I'm not going to lie to you, that was a pain in the ass. The reason is my tailstock is not on. It's a few thousandths high actually, and a little bit to the inside, maybe a thousandths or so. It's enough to where I can see it. I can actually, if I spin it, I can see that the hole was spinning off center. So that's what I tried to do first. That's what I would recommend. Take your tailstock with a center in it and just dot you a hole. But that didn't work here. So what I ended up doing is I came in with a really sharp pointed piece of high-speed steel and felt out my center, basically. The easiest way to say it. Kind of put it in, and the way I would check it would be to take just by eye, and also I would took a punch that's got a center on it, kind of set it in there, spun it up, and you can see there's no shake. You can see there's no shake. Is it perfect? No. Is it good enough? Especially for a 4-jaw chuck? Yes, because you know your 4-jaw chuck, it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. It's good if it's perfectly centered, but it doesn't have to be, because you can adjust the jaws. You have to adjust the jaws. Is it the way I want to do it? No. Did I try to adjust my tailstock? Yes. That's why this is the next day, and I've got a different shirt on. This tailstock on this machine is, for all intents and purposes, fixed. The only way that it can be adjusted is to basically take it apart and shave down the dovetail. This is something I didn't realize about this machine, and it's a big problem actually. It's not such a big deal with most of the stuff I do, drilling and whatnot. I mean, I get close enough to center, but this is a big problem for anything that desires any sort of precision hole. I thought that it had adjustment on it. I never had to adjust it, because when I first got it, it was really pretty much dead on. So I just left it where it was, and I said, I know nothing about the machine, I might as well, it's close enough, I'll just leave it. Well, it's not close enough anymore. And I could live with a side to side. Like I said, it's maybe a thousandths, 2 thousandths off. I could live with that, but it's too high. And it's too high by an eyeball noticeable amount. The only thing I can think to do is grind a little bit off the bottoms, machine a little bit off the bottoms, and that's something more than I want to do right now. I thought, if you can see, it's got these bolts here. I honestly thought that this thing had some adjustment in there somehow, but it doesn't. Now, I do think that this section splits from the bottom section. I can just barely make out a ridge there under the paint and the Bondo, but these bolt holes are fixed, so even if I separated that, there's no side to side or up and down, and there's certainly not any up and down play. I could raise it a little bit, but that's not my problem. I gotta put it down. I've seen other of these machines that actually have a little adjustment point here, that you loosen something up here and then you turn an adjustment knob here. This is a big problem. It's one I didn't know about, and it's really kind of peeved me off. I I mean, I know that it's not a precision machine, but and it'll do 95% of what I want it to do, but that's just too far off from my thought process. But anyway, let's get back to the faceplate. So my little workaround seems to have worked. I think I've got it within a thousandths or so either way. There's no real way for me to test it other than I don't have an indicator that has a point on it that allows you to do rotational centering. So like I said, by eye and by running it with a center in it, as best I can tell, it's really close. Now, when I take it off of here, I'm also going to make some other measurements. I'm not going to just rely on this. I'm way too OCD to rely on just this eye thing. I'll have to take some measurements, but I don't want to take it off until I go ahead, since I've got it centered, I want to go ahead and draw my line on here while I've got it mounted in the chuck. I'm not going to take it out of the chuck until I get my line on there, because at that point it either works or it doesn't. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, the way I'm going to do that, I've got this center here that I'm going to use. This is one that I turned out of an old piece of drill rod. I think it's drill rod. Anyway, it's good straight rod. And I turned it on this machine, so it's centered on this machine. I'm going to put it in a boring bar holder, and I'm going to find the center with it, move out, use the DRO to move out half of 84 millimeters, 42 millimeters, and scribe a line. Alright guys, I think I got it this time. You may notice I switched to Sharpie instead of Dykem. Something about Dykem on cast iron, it just kind of flakes. It doesn't make a nice clean scratch. At least that's been my experience. I probably don't let it dry long enough. These all measure out okay. I think I'm good this time. I'm gonna drill and tap these, and we'll put it on there and we'll find out. switched out the regular cap head screws. Now I still have to make a register for the plate to register onto the spindle. Right now I have a drawbar pulling it through the spindle, and I've got it within 5 thousandths right now. Maybe a little less. That's fine, because I'm going to take the drawbar out now, take off the nose, the threaded part of the spindle, and get this roughly flat. I want to go ahead and do that before I get it dead nuts on, because I think it's probably going to move when I'm taking this piece off. Alright guys, I hope you can see that finish. That's it's surprising to me. It's that good. It's really nice. Let's see how close we are. I know you're not going to be able to probably see this. You're just going to have to trust me, because I have to use a mirror to see it. I'm going to have to show you that, because you won't believe me. I'd say that's dead nuts on, so I don't have any problem with my cross slide. Okay, now I got to cut. I want to cut some of the register, not all of it, because I'm not spinning completely true. I'm still about 4 or 5 thousandths out. So I want to cut some of it, and then I want to come in and put the drawbar back on, and then get it perfectly centered. And then I can leave the drawbar in there because I already have the center cut, and then I just have to massage out the ends of it. I want to do it that way because I'm not positive that the bolts are going to hold due to the cut pressure. Although I just checked it after I cut off the nose, and it did hold. So I may just be doing this for no reason. Messing with it for quite a while here, pounding it back and forth. Let's see what I got. I'd say that's within 1 thousandth. I don't think I'm going to get it any closer. Alright guys, this is taking me way too long to do. Hey. Next time I'll mount that bad boy up to it and give it a try.